What's going on, everybody? KD here, back with the second official episode of the King Darius Experience. I'm really excited because this last episode, Clout Doesn't Matter, gave me a lot of life as I saw people responding on social media. I posted on Instagram, TikTok, stories, timeline, that kind of stuff. So just starting to get my, creator feelers out in the water. And it just brings me a lot of life to see that it's already impacting certain creators and in a way that's awakening and empowering them to become the, creator and doer and maker that they know that they can be. So I want to build on that topic a little bit and go deeper, just with like a slightly different approach, if you will. So last week we talked about Clout Doesn't Matter. This week I want to talk about if you don't know the rules, you can't play the game. So I want to start with this quote that my business mentor used to tell me a long time ago. And this quote hit me in waves in different seasons of life and business and relationships. Because at first I didn't quite understand the nature of what he was saying. But as I started having experiences and different situations come forth, I was like, wow, this is what he's talking about. And that quote is this. He goes, "Not everybody will remember what you say or what you do, but they will always remember how you make them feel." And he was like, if you learn this lesson, your relationships will be better, your business will have more traction, you'll make more sales, your marketing will be better, your communication will be better. If you make people feel valued and important, they will always remember that. So what's interesting about that is it kind of challenges authenticity in a way that I don't think that a lot of us innately or instinctively think about. So I want to take that quote a little bit further and apply it to, the social world, the media world. And I want to say that people will always see what you do because that's what's rewarded, right? We select moments of our life and we put them on display for people to watch and react to and engage with and respond to. And we feed off of that and we get rewarded from that. And then we train our minds to appreciate and love and almost desire that type of reaction and that value system. So people see what we do, but they aren't stupid. They can feel authenticity. They can tell if what you're creating, if what you're putting forth, if what you're making and doing is not authentically you. This is why I think that if you're going to commit to a life of, innovating or creating ideas or making or doing, regardless of the level or regardless if it's a boutique style or empire level thing, it still needs to be authentically you, because when it comes down to doing the things that actually takes to sustain that thing, you're going to weigh those things in the balance. Keep doing what's rewarded or do what I love to do. So I wanted to build on top of that because before you commit to a thing, you need to make sure that it is aligned. So that way you're not adopting a value system that isn't innately aligned with the things that you love. So the one thing that I do to try to combat this, and I used to teach this to clients, used to teach this to people that were in my communities online with social properties, and I will always champion this narrative, is that if it's worth doing, at all, it's worth doing with your best effort. And how you shift your perspective to match that is when this works. Too many people think about the ifs or the hows. How are we going to do this? If this works, or if this happens, or, contingent on this. But when you start with you, when you start with the center of who you are, when you're creating and making and doing out of a calibration and alignment with your purpose, then when this works, this is what I'm going to do. When this works, this is who I'm going to talk to. When this works, this is who I'm going to do business with or network with, or the circles I'm going to roll in, or the places I'm going to go, and the new things I'm going to try to accomplish. You need to have a lot more confidence if you're going to spend your time doing and creating and making a thing, to shift your perspective to match and say, when this works, this is what I'm going to do. And the reason why I think that's important is because you don't want to find yourself standing in gaps that weren't made for you, and creating solutions to things that weren't made for you, and ideating around things that you really aren't ready for the heat. You're not ready for the things that come along with standing in the gap for things, or pushing narratives, or creating things that aren't aligned with who you are. You don't have enough time for that, energy, resources. Most of us don't have enough money for that. You really need to make sure that if there is a chance for you to escape or find entertainment or fulfillment or love in a thing, that is completely aligned with you. Because I feel this is where A lot of people get stuck in, the corporate world. A lot of people get stuck in, their activities with, spending time with their family, or engaging in extracurricular stuff, or, participating in church and religious activities, or what have you. Like, people get stuck in that place of, man, I'm standing in things. I'm bridging gaps that I don't find life in this. Like, I've got that career, I've got that job, I've got that moment, I've got that relationship, but just something isn't, it's just off. So we kind of find ourselves ebbing and flowing, hitting, mountain peaks and valleys. And, you have all those cliche entrepreneurial like memes where it's like what people think success is like and what success actually is like, and then draw a scribbly line. It's because I think that shows human behavior. I think it shows more about human behavior than it shows about what success can look like, because I do think there's a world where if you know who you are, it should look a little bit more like this, where it's like, yeah, of course you're going to have peaks and valleys, but there should be an overall trajectory of alignment and a North Star in which you're chasing. I don't think there should be a world where it's just going from, high moment cloud nine to crisis, to cloud nine to, lack of identity, to fully knowing and who you are and loving a thing, to I don't think we're built for lives like that. I think there needs to be some type of cadence. There needs to be some type of consistency in the things that we put forth and create, out of ourselves. So what's interesting about this is the inverse effect of not taking time to discover this moment, right? Discover the rules of the game, and how you can take your internal calibrations and play the game in a way that's authentically you. The inverse effect of not doing it up front is that you will be wasting time, wasting money, wasting energy, wasting moments, wasting opportunity, because this is why creators also get stuck with labels or collectives or agencies, or people put their creation and their talent and their time into these places that have done the R&D, that do what it takes to sustain a creation of a thing. This is why musicians go to record labels and have them do their marketing, advertising, branding, positioning, messaging, and all that kind of stuff, because they don't know who they are themselves, B, let alone how to actually market and advertise that thing. So you're putting your creation at the mercy of somebody else's hands when you don't take the time to first calibrate and then learn how to use modern tools and resources to communicate those things that you're wanting to create. So the digital age is sort of forcing you to choose one direction or the other. Are you going to catch up, and are you going to communicate through these channels? Are you going to participate in these different moments and try to find fulfillment in pushing an idea forward, or are you going to sort of fall in line and become a part of it? I don't think it's a right or wrong answer, but I do think you need to understand that the digital age is creating lanes that didn't exist before. It's making room for all types of ideas. This is why you see, subpar and mediocre ideas crushing it, because all you have to do is do inside of a white space, inside of an opportunity, a vertical, an emerging market, things that new platforms that are coming out, and mediocre ideas can take off, mediocre talent can take off, okay music can take off, decent art can take off and find its place, which means there's also room for good ideas. There's also room for aligned ideas, calibrated ideas, tested ideas, things that are 100% authentically who you are. So you need to sort of make your decision now if you're going to be one of those people who kind of just gets blown with the wind as technology changes and media changes and communication changes, and things are happening in the media and having shortages of this and governmental stuff, shit. Like, everything is always going to be ever changing in the world. So your calibration is what you need to be focused on. And I know I use those words a lot, the words like calibration or the words like alignment, because those words keep me grounded. They keep me very mindful. Another thing that, full circle moment back to my business mentor who said, make sure you're always making people feel important. He used to always say this too, is that your head needs to be where your feet are, which essentially he's saying you need to be fully mindful and grounded in the things that you choose to do. If you choose for your feet to go somewhere, your head needs to be there too. Far too many of us are in moments of, creation, in moments of ideating, in moments of relationship, in moments of contributing to a thing, and our head is either in the past of what could have been or in the future of what may or may not be. And so we kind of go around the current, around the present, and we're never fully present. We're never fully mindful, or we're never fully grounded. And I think the idea that if you're choosing for your feet to go somewhere, your head needs to go with it, because your time is valuable. The things that are inside of you are valuable. What you're trying to make, do, and create in this world is valuable. And right now, at the end of this episode, I want to share with you some more of my creation. But before I get there, the punchline of this entire episode is sort of like a self-realization that I came across as I began to share content again online, and get back into the flow of wanting to get the somewhat of the world's eyes on the things that I'm doing again, and that is that you shouldn't idolize the 1%. You should create and become part of the new normal. So what I mean by that is, there is a version where, because of what's rewarded in society, we look at who's doing it the best. But if you think about the behavior of who's doing it the best, they've just learned to play the game better than anybody else. That's why they are the 1%, because they do what's rewarded. Now, not all of them, I'm not putting them all in the box, all successful people in a cliche box or whatever, but I am saying, don't compare yourself to other people who are doing their thing. You need to be doing you. Stop comparing yourself to the 1%, to other people's selective version of who they choose to put online, because chances are it's either authentically them and you need not to touch it, or it's not authentically them and you're trying to aspire to be something that's not even something they're aspiring to be. That's just something they're doing because it's rewarded. So don't idolize the 1%. Create the new normal and become a part of that new norm. So right here at the end of this episode, I'm going to play one of my favorite songs. It's called Ghost. And this one, I love the lyrical performance on this. I love the instrumentals and that sort of thing. But in the second verse, I say something to the effect of, I'm starting to get used to wearing my chains because they hold me down when I start feeling the pain. And I put a lot of, authenticity in regards to where I was at in that season, which wasn't too long ago, into this song. It was right before I moved to Chicago. So hopefully you enjoy that. And hopefully you join me for the next episode, 003 of the King Darius Experience. And I will see you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in. Peace. Blowing up, but we still trapped, sitting high up on the stone. When my foes out, got the world clapping. I'll be vibing up in this show. So your main girl in the private section. Hey, somewhat between who I wanted to be and then what I became. Ended up going my own way, but I couldn't stay in my lane. Now if I'm honest, I've taken a liking to wearing these chains. They hold me down, make it easier when I start feeling the pain. Out of the overflow, your heart, they say your mouth speaks.